Yo, yo, yo. Alright. I get a little charge on the camera. Just started it over because it's going to be better this way, I think. Got a little tobacco on there. Put a little, protect with tobacco. That's what Native Americans do. It's kind of a peace offering to the guides. So, like I said, you didn't really give me much to work with, but that's okay. General, this is we kind of just go off of what I'm feeling and what we've kind of been talking about and get some type of those type of energies from you, and then try to like decipher it through the cards when I get it. So some of the stuff might be like you might not resonate, or you might think that's not right. Just know that this is what I'm receiving, and this is what comes in my head right away. I have a very keen sense of intuition and understanding of that stuff. So just because maybe it's not said, or you don't believe it, or it doesn't feel right, it doesn't mean that it's not there. But it can also mean that I could bring a little bit of stuff of my stuff in, or it's it's a possibility of those things happening, or it could be wrong too. But that's what it'll be wrong to you just because you might have decided to go a different route. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want this route, what I say in this reading could have really happened, but some of those things might not happen because you decided to make this decision to go the other way. So that could be it. So you take it as, so essentially just take the generals as what resonates. Take that in deeply, because that's definitely something telling you that's exactly what you need to work on at the moment. And then whatever you don't agree with or believe, then use it as a warning for possible things to happen, or something you want to strive for. So I threw out, in general readings, I just don't really have a set system. I mean, I really don't have a system at all. I just kind of go for it. But usually, like, I like to use the readings, or your natal chart, to kind of really help me navigate and gives me more of a visual aid. But since we kind of have a little bit of a history about that stuff, so I'm kind of going off of memory. I looked over, obviously I looked over when we were trying to do the other stuff, but so these cards right here is like the opening salvo. So just to kind of get like, what is the gist? What is your guide trying to say to you? What is the main theme? It's like, the back of the book. What's going on? What's the overall process? What's the overall timeline in a grander scheme? So you're taking a look at the body, the whole system. You're taking a step back and just looking at it, and then you work your way down. So summertime, Pluto, the eclipse, bear, the chameleon, and snake. I'm gonna say like these right here are gonna be like what the guides are telling you specifically is like gonna be happening, and like what is expected of you, and what there's like a little bit of a timeline in there as well, and then like really good descriptions of like what's really gonna happen. So like, yeah, summertime. That's right there. It's telling you maybe summertime here, because after right before the summertime, there's the eclipse happening here on April 30th in Taurus, and that the nodes. So there's a thing. There's these two astrological points called the nodes, and the nodes are a mathematical point in the sky where they know exactly when the eclipses happen, and then like the full eclipse. So the nodes travel in your chart as well. So you're born wherever they are. When you're born, they're in your natal placement, and then they travel. They take 18 years for them to fully go around the whole chart together, because there's a south node and a north node. One's the eclipse, and one's or solar eclipse, and one's the lunar eclipse. Right now, I'm pretty sure everybody's getting close, like our age, or getting close to their second revolution of the nodes. coming around again. So there's going to be a big shift happening. There's always going to be something that is called like the new big great new endings and great new beginnings, and that can be fall under any type of thing that's like, you know, whatever those nodes are in that area of life. That's where you get to kind of focus on what's going to be ending and what's going to be kind of beginning for you. And you can always kind of take a look back at like 8 years ago. You know, they'll be able to see and tell like what clues and indications that you might be able to like look at and see when what's going to be happening here in like next, you know, 6-7 months to a year. Yeah, the nodes transit each sign for about 2 years almost, and then they go into the next one. So they just ingressed in it. They just went to the axis of Taurus and Scorpio. The Taurus and Scorpio are opposite each other in the zodiac sign, and that's how the nodes work. They work exactly opposite of the charts from each other. The North Node is going to be more like, what's your destiny? Where are you heading? Where haven't you like you know been to in your past lives? Something your soul really needs you to go and figure out and experience, so that you can you know, whatever you believe in can take you to another next realm or higher beliefs, or you know, ascend to like an ascended master, like, you know, be some type of angel or whatever you believe in. That you have to experience that part of life. It doesn't have to be a career or anything like that, but just have it to be some type of point that, you know, affects your righteous goal in life. So you can see right here then. So summertime too means it's like, I think you should take a trip. I think you need to just like really like try to find your kid like side again. Let's see what's going to focus. You got to find your inner child. Like what made you what was really fun about summertime. I think you really need to take care of yourself, like in that fun way. You might be like too serious of what's going on lately, and you're just too focused on like the everyday, you know, life struggles when it comes to relationships and all that. Shoot, I meant to do 2 videos there. Yeah. So, but that's also saying like, that's, you know, part of the timeline is going to be somewhere in the summertime, but you have to like make sure you just forget about it though. Have a good time, go out, do things, go to the beach with family. Make sure you go to the beach. Go to the beach. You know. And then right here, I was getting like a symbol here, dude, like up here, like a baby or something like that. It's like a baby to me. I don't know if you're gonna be having a baby, but to me it makes me feel like you need to step into your like inner child. You need to go find that person again, or that kid again, and you gotta like feel those memories once again, and just be like, oh, that's right, I did have an innocence about me, you know, I did have a clean slate about me. This is when life was so simple, and I really just want that back. And it's not like you're trying to get that back. You're just trying to resonate with it again. You're trying to let that be a part of your being, because I think it linked a little bit too much of this ethereal, serious side of you that is taking away from the ethereal side. Like you're not being as angelic and like almost like you have to be like whimsical, like, you know, like follow your daughter's leads. Let them be the master of the summertime. Not the same like we can go here and see ice cream, blah blah blah. Like look at how they play and look at how they talk. And almost like kind of be that like that with them, you know, like embody that like really immensely. And I feel like you'll lose a lot of like the anxiety and tension that you have about life, because you really start to realize that life, look how simple life is to a kid. And life can be simple, but life is hard though too. I mean, that's not say like, oh, you should just stop caring about stuff, but I think there's a sense of you lost a lot of that, and it's I mean, you have like a sensitivity side about you, and then that's what I think you maybe hold on to as your like feminine side, but like it's not the same as it once was. And your old beliefs about how you're, you know, going about doing that, keeping that sensitivity, what women do, like, you know, is needs to be rebooted. Needs a new software to be put in, and that's kind of the gist of this reading, is that it's like adjustments and adaptations, and just reconfiguring something that it's not it's not about it's not about breaking your routines of like how you implement your love for like for women, or like the way you do it is good. They love that. It's just now I think the times are different, so now the mind has to adapt more. You have to be whatever you're lacking like you're gonna have to go really deep into yourself, and like, so what this kind of talks about: signifies event, major shifts, upheavals, shock and surprise, new tools for change. See, you have to figure out new tools, and so that means like new. Be honest with yourself and dive deep, and like you have to get into more of that feminine type of energy that's like staying quiet. You can think of when you get upset about like what you're finding like out what's upsetting you consistently about relationships. Write that down. That's right there. Just writing it down is a feminine type of energy. That's discerning. It's not feminine. Doesn't mean like you're trying to be a woman. You're just being more thoughtful. You're thinking more. It's less action. You're trying to really dive into yourself. You're trying to get to that connection to like source that they'll be able to tell you, and that's your subconscious. And there's things that subconscious is weird. It talks to you really weirdly. It talks to you in like I got your new subconscious, and it was like a woman's face that looks like a plate, and then it was like a weird whatever. Like that was what I saw, but that's my perceptions of how I see your subconscious. You can see it way differently. The weirder it is, the more like detailed that is. Then there's more details in it. The more obscure and like soft and normal looking, those are, I don't know, I wouldn't trust those ones. I like the ones that are super weird, because there's like a language in there when you see super weird stuff like that. So then kind of stays with the theme of what's going to be happening for you in the summertime, or during this next 6 months, I'd say. Can't see. See new perspectives, death, transformation, revolutionary change. So there's going to be some moments of. I think there's going to be a lot of just small changes, but there's going to be, the only way you can make those a lot of small changes, there's got to be 2 or 3 like revolutionary types of changes, where when it says death, it's meaning like death of the old thoughts, the old way, the old thing, a way you used to like kind of carry yourself about women, like thoughts you probably had since as a child, or not child, but like as a teenager, maybe in your mid-20s, that worked perfectly, that worked flawlessly, but like now it's not. It's a different type of energy now. We're middle-aged damn near now, and it's a different type of like women that if you're gonna date around that age, like it's so much differently. They've been through the ringer, Not to say like the women you're with, like it's not like you're all to blame, but I think the way that really you want to make that change to make it more consistent and comfortable for yourself is maybe changing what's inside of you first, and making tweaks, and dabble with that a little bit, whatever. But you have to first look at the bigger perspective, like we're doing here. We're looking at the big perspective. What is the big characteristic about yourself that is hampering your issues with women? And if you don't know, then this is what you probably have to come back and ask for another question, or this is what you can go look now. Go find books, or go on Google and say, what is like some of the main characteristics of a male that can hamper a relationship, like stuff like that. Like you just kind of veer off, and you'll find tangents, and you might, you'll find something that'll resonate with him. As soon as you resonate with something, just search it, dive into it, because you need to tap into that feminine side. The more you get into yourself and know yourself more about how to like make this a new, better version of yourself, the more confidence you'll get, the more that will show in your body, and like the way you express it, it'll be like attractive, and it'll be irresistible. But then what happens though is like once you do something and it works, we tend to sway away in that direction. So you got to be careful with that as well. So You don't want to go way too far to the feminine side, because then you just become like too sensitive and, you know, too emotional, and then it's like that's not fun either, you know. So when it comes to these ones, this is kind of like you. I think this is already what you kind of have. It's like kind of emphasize more on adapting these things, because there's darker sides about this stuff too. But that's fine. Like, you know, you can use the darker stuff as in a good way. You need to be just be more like act like more of the bear, of the reserved nature, and independent. So like less about what caring about the relationship in the old way you thought about it. You know, what does independence mean to you when it comes to relationship? What does it mean to them? You know, what is the average themes that that have been happening when it comes to independence? You know, the routines, that should be there. That you should keep your routines. That's what I'm saying. Like keep the what you're doing to, like, you know, that works. Like most of the stuff, I bet you most of the stuff you do works, but like there's this major like couple things that's gonna deter, you know, your way of thinking, or how, what they're thinking about you. This They keep that routine aspect about yourself, but find a new way of implementing your routines. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Yeah, so like instead of being, I think I got a sense of like it's so, everything is so abrupt, because that's the way that I feel that with you, it just changes so quickly, you know, on a dime. You got to learn how to camouflage that, you know, blend that together when you have your emotions are kind of starting to you know, go from one end to the other. It can't be so, you know, 180, because that really throws the confusion into the whole situation and throws a wrench into it. It makes them feel untrustworthy, or I don't trust you because of like the emotion aspects. Like there's different ways of trust, how that works, you know. Like it's not all about like, you know, lying and cheating and stuff like that. It's like emotional wise too. Like if they can't trust that your emotions are going to be somewhat, you know, consistent, or mostly consistent, so that they can understand what they can say and what they not can, what they not, or what they have to be careful saying, you know. And that's all about adapting, and making their adjustments to you. And that's what like relationships are all about. It's constant work, and it's constant adjustments. It's constant finding out new things about them, because they're, you know, people are ever evolving. Like I said, you're evolving into something different now when it comes to relationships, if you take this advice. So like the way you were like when you're 21 is not even close to the person that you are now when it comes to relationships. And I think that aspect, that has to be really take a deep look at that, because that is something that is that I think that would really benefit you. And you might be saying like, oh, I know that, like I already done stuff like that, and like I know it probably, but it's telling you to do it more, I think. Or maybe you need to do some more, like maybe you did the wrong tweaks. I don't know what it is, but like you probably feel like you're different from that, in that sense. But there is probably a lot of bigger issues that are still maintaining from that era. So here's the like the main things that I would say, like you would have to really, when you're doing this new work, is what these negative feelings that you should be really working on. And I think two of these stem from a childhood, and then two of these right here stem from these, and then just made those later in life. So what I would do is tackle, I mean, unless they're all there from the earlier life, is tackle these first. So whatever happened in your earlier in your life that made you feel like something happened that where you had an untrust, like you thought that about somebody, untrust. Wait, what did it say? Untrustworthy, yeah. Like you're the one that has that. It's not like you are untrustworthy. It's like something happened to you that made you think about somebody who's untrustworthy. So like that plays into being pessimistic and pessimist. You know, like you know, like I don't trust anybody. I know exactly somebody screwed me over a long time ago, and then now I'm like, this is how people always are. You know, like there's something deeper in there, and it could be just a singular event, or it could just be, you know, this could be just a soft annoyance throughout your life. You know, like this could have been an event that hurt, and then early in your life it really stung, but eventually over time it just kind of faded. But like just kind of now this thing just kind of like lingers, but it affects like all all this stuff, you know, like all these characteristics. I mean, look at that one, yeah, but like all these characteristics, like these can affect these, like this can affect this in negative ways, you know. It permeates, you know, and then it's like when you have this. I have to do another video, but when you have this type of energy here, this can make this over here as well. So like, you know, I'm envious of people who don't have to deal with stuff like this. I'm envious that I of people who don't have problems when it comes to untrustworthy people. You know, like it makes me want that. But like, you don't want their life. You don't want their life because they have specific things that are going on their stuff. So like they could be thinking that you think they're this is better, like over here is better, but it's really not. They have their own stuff like this going on as well. It's just that you want the things that you see in others, and that's like a projection. Like like when you see negative things that people do, that you really think about what that is, because it's probably most likely something that you do that you do yourself, because you do know, everybody knows the things that they do themselves, like the bad things that they do. And not like bad things, but like, you know, like the faults and the things that they want to work on, but it's kind of like, you know, egos gets in the way, and it's really difficult to get that, you know, break that habit. But I'm just about to die. I mean, I don't die, but it's gonna do the video. But it's hang on, I'm gonna do another video here. When you're envious of other people's, you know, maybe stuff or whatever, life, and dealing with like, they don't deal with this kind of things. They're dealing with their stuff. They just see, you just, like I said, you just see, you might just be seeing that projection of what of yourself and the other people. And it really is a very crazy thing when you think about it at first, but then when you actually read about it and then just watch yourself when you do it, or just watch what happens when you start judging and thinking about things. Think about it. Try to be aware of it, and then you'll notice that there's a lot of that. And I think it's just part of who we are. That's gonna stick with us. So it's actually, you see, what you should look at it is like, you should see how that could be used as a tool for everybody. You know, like everybody should do that, because then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I see, I'm doing a lot of that. That's why I'm like worried about this person, or that's why that person irks me, because I think I do a lot of that as well. So then it helps you, like gives you a barometer, so you can kind of change. You know, the envy leads into obsessive. You know, this envy can be into like so many ways too. Like there's so many branches you can take the envy, and then it can, you know, in relationships it can make you envious of, like, you know, you even think about past boyfriends and be like, oh god, I wish that she never would have was with that guy. It makes me so like jealous that he got to kiss her so many times. You know, like the really weird deep stuff. That's envious shit. And then you start to obsess over it. So I think this, if you can either tackle this if you want right away. They'll be the easiest to defeat. But these will always be there, and if you don't take care of these will come back, and there'll be more. And I'm sure there's more, but they can just, these are the ones that your guides are really wanting you to look at. I mean, so if I'm like not correct about this in a way, but there is this is correct in some type of way though. I know it is. You know, I mean, we talked about like the way that you have that with that girl that you liked a lot, that she got married and all that. I broke that down for you, and like it was like you weren't thinking of it that way. You know, you weren't thinking of it in the sense of like that kind of untrust. Like you don't trust you don't trust yourself about like saying like being confident in yourself that the women are like, you maybe like put like scenarios in your mind that, you know, if you're not around, they could be like possibly with some guy having a good time, just like you were with that girl, and that was a big deal for you, and you really liked that girl, and it obviously wouldn't work out because of certain whatever situations, but like it stuck with you, and it made you have like a little twisted sense of like untrustworthiness. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, but the untrustworthy, I think that came from somewhere else, deeper. So think of like father, mother, divorce situations and stuff like that. That stuff all plays a factor, because when you're getting when you're younger, what's happening is you're a sponge. You're a sponge, and you're absorbing everything that's happening to you, and you take that as literal, and we start to manifest that into our lives throughout our lives, and it actually shapes us as the way we think. And that makes so much sense because we're kids. It's the only thing, the first things we see is like that kind of stuff. So we really try to perceive. We have like a really weird perception of things at first, and then we kind of see how the adults do it, and then we take our weird perceptions and see how adults do it, and we mesh that together, and we come up with our own like system of a way we think the world is. And sometimes that can be. I mean, a lot of times. I mean, everybody has like a bad sense of something. Then there's some things that you really have a good sense of, and you really kind of figured it out. But if you had like a bad situation when you were younger about like untrustworthiness, then that's going to be manifested something a lot more deeper and more in a negative light. So this would be like, okay, so if you start to do the stuff that is required up here and let go of, like, it's like letting go of stuff, like letting go of stuff, it's working on new ways of like seeing the relationship patterns that you're doing, and implementing new ones and making adjustments, but like really being honest with yourself. Don't shortchange yourself in that stuff. And this is what would possibly, and like some things that will be like happening or like bolstering your what you already have. And so this is what exactly like what could be like, or like how you can make these steps to do it. So like right there, I think that one's a big one. Unconditional love, self-love. See, like if you do this self-love, then you become, I mean, you get all this stuff. This is what women see, because they're very they're feminine overall. Cutting ties, like we talked about that too. Like you got to let go of some of these things. You got to revamp some of these things. You got to have a new just a new software is got to be put in, because look at this. Look at what's going to be coming if you do that. And this is what you want. It's exactly what you want. So like right here, it could be right away. It's saying self-love. Self-love means going in deep and finding out what it is that is not working. And then when you get inside there, this is what you do. We talk about this a lot. It's something you gotta let go. Just stuff that you have to let go of, because this is what's gonna be coming. Because like you want these big changes, right? These big changes. This is what big changes do. This is what a big change does. It gives you the things that you need, that you want, that you yearn for. You've been manifesting this in your whole life. It just hasn't come the way you exactly want it. I'm not saying this is going to be exactly the way either, because it all depends on how you want to be, how genuine you're going to be in the process. If you give it a good effort, but you're not genuine like in certain areas and stuff like that, then you're going to get like a gist of what you want, but it'll still be enough for a little bit, but I don't think it'd be long lasting. Or it could be if you've worked at it. I mean, anybody can be together if they worked at it. Okay. Look at that. Outdated thinking. Replacing events, so that trustworthiness. That's why I feel like that this is coming from something down here. Where it's like reconceptualizing. This one is coming back to the summertime stuff. So there's I don't know if there's somebody like that in your life, or that's the way you are. It might be both, but mostly maybe you. But in a different way. You're not like chasing, but you chase like this infatuation of this old self, and it makes you become jealous and envious. Where is it? Envious and obsessive. So it's just kind of saying that these are like what you're going to be working on, but like this is what like will happen if you do the work here and this stuff. Just remember that. God, this fucking camera, dude. Let's get another 3 minutes. What the fuck? Okay. Yeah, see, look at this. So you get another one. See, all these affirmations about like, if you do this stuff, if you do all this work and this work and this work, and remember, like this is to nourish this stuff right here, this and this, you know, like this is what's going to be happening, you know. But it's you just got to make sure you keep your inner child, you know, like you make sure it's keep fun because it's going to be some tough times. It's going to require a lot of endurance. You know, this is saying again. It's like just have a good time. Make sure you have a good time because like this is gonna be dark. Look how dark this is. I mean, you're gonna be like trying to. You could easily get shown like sucked down, you know, into something where you don't really want to be, and that's like. It's okay if that happens like that, but like, that is not the way you want to be spending your time right now because I think you've been doing a lot of that lately. You know, like a lot of overthinking and overanalyzing and it's time to just go have some fun. Even if you're not feeling the best this summer, just go have fun. Try to have fun. Watch your we'll go with your kids and make sandcastles on the beach. Every like do the most simplest kid things you can possibly do. So just start another one here. So this is what I mean. That's what you would mainly do is one of these readings here with the spreads. So hang on. So it's a quick little overview. I guess we can do this slightly quickly. So this is like how you're gonna break through the fear of doing this because that's a lot of people have this. Is the main thing is fear of the unknown. This let's see. So this card here is the space 1, and that's going to be like what is some of the bigger characteristics or the bigger things about your fear when it comes to relationships and all of this. Oh, sorry, hang on. So it's the 6 of Pentacles. This is fixed energy. So a lot of this is like got to do with fixed energy, like routines and stubbornness, but like the mechanics of like how you get things done. You know how to do it. You know how to do it once you know once you know the details of what it's like I'm saying, like the software. Once the software is in there, you know how to fucking implement it. You know, so like that shouldn't change. It's just you need to rechange the way that routine is done. But here, it's like you're worried about either like how you will be caring for your girls. You worry what can make things happen. Like what the bigger fears is like your money and staying balanced in it, making sure that you're not, you know, barely getting by or paying too much or you're giving away too much. You hate that. You hate to give away so much, and you feel like it's not being reciprocated back a lot of times, or you just don't want to be like the one that has to like do all the work. But mainly I think it's the make sure your girls are taken care of, and that's what this is kind of saying, like having the balance here, you know, of like my material things that would make sure that my 2 girls are taken care of. And that's my main thing. That's the one thing that could like really bound you up, that could really make you feel like that it's gonna, if you don't have this equal, like if you don't have this figured out with your girl, like if you don't feel comfortable with the girls, then you're never gonna go figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to know that you are insecure. Like you know you have the job that's there, right? And you know you make good decisions when it comes to your women. So like yes, you're always gonna be the number one thing. They're always gonna be the number one thing, but it doesn't mean that you can't just be vulnerable big time right now and try to figure out what it is about yourself. Because the only way you can take care of your girls 100% is that you have to be 100%. And if you're not 100%, you're not gonna be able to do it. So then the second card here is like, will these fears take over you? I'm like, yes, it could easily. A lot of insecurities. This is the workers card. This is Virgo. This is Taurus. This is Earth energy. This is all about work and material things right now so far. Yeah. So if you are, you know, so obsessed with work, then yes, you definitely can, like, you know, make these fears not become true. Like you might not get the work done. So that we talked about over here. Let's see what else I said. So yeah, like where are those material things, but But mainly, I mean, it's about the work stuff, and then like this is like a Virgo is like very like embodies like a lot of anxiety and insecurities. You know, like what if you let these insecurities that you have that you have to work on over here that we talked about, then it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna affect your material things as well. So like your girls or your relationships or your home or whatever. And then here is gonna be, let's see what it was. I can't remember. What are the triggers? Triggers. So what are the triggers? Would be like your instability, like when things become unstable in your mind. It's like you're just pretty much in your endurance. Your endurance to be able to, when times are tough and when somebody pisses you off, is like what really is gonna trigger like the downfall of like you going into the bad stuff that you need to get rid of, is not being able to be feminine energy. This is the moon card, so it's like to go inside, like that's darkness here, but see, that's like a sun kind of a way, but it's the moon in itself. So it's like here's your being, and then the moon's in there because you have to look inside yourself. So look down through these gates of connection here. And so if your crustaceans here represent like the subconscious, like the inner creatures of yourself, and this is like the duality of life. But you need to take your thoughts and walk through these gates and go to the darkness over here and really just start to discern, because it's, I mean, these things right here is like, I can't remember they're called like yods or something, and they're like golden like nuggets of knowledge. If you once you get past this gate, this gate looks scary, but it's really not, because there's all this stuff here waiting for you. Like this will help you. The sun and the moon helps you illuminate everything. That's what they're called, luminaries in astrology. This is Pisces energy, and then this is Leo. So you have fixed right here, and two mutables. So you're like you're fixed in these energies that are keeping you down and unwilling to change. The mutable energies are changing types of energy, and here's another fixed energy right here. And this one is God, this fucking, what's up with this camera? But I'll have to splice these together. But let me start it again. So there's essentially, this is saying, okay, this is a movement card. So this is what's like, how are you going to do this? How are you going to figure this out? And this is saying, this is a movement card, but heading in if it's in reverse, it's saying, don't use your same methods to move forward. You can't use the same types of energy to move forward. Don't hold old beliefs. It's not going to work for you anymore. It won't allow you to go forward if you do that, you know, like you'll be stuck, you know. This is upside down. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's actually heading back that way to the past. So you don't want to do that. So you don't want to go here. You don't want to sit here in a reverse night and like just block yourself here, because this is like blocking energy. This is actually like, I'm gonna fight and defend for like what is right and like what's new. But like this is saying like, I'm blocking myself from doing that, or I don't want to do that, or and I'm gonna stay stubborn in my ways, because this is a Leo card. This is another fixed energy. So fixed energy is very stubborn, and this is saying here, this is an Aquarius, another fixed energy. So it's stubbornness. It's that staying in a routine of something that's not working. So like, don't be in that routine of what you've been doing, because it's not gonna work out. It's not gonna work. It won't work. Yeah, it's almost like saying like, oh, I'm sorry, like I'm trying to blame everything on you. No, I think if you do the work like this, if you change some things inside of you instead of worrying about what the outside world is doing, then you'll start to be more confident in yourself, and you'll see more of that positive outcomes of what you want, and you'll start to think about more positively in like manifesting things like into fruition, like the things that you really desire, really align yourself with. And like I can help you do like some manifestation stuff like that as well, if you ever needed like some tips and tricks how to do that. That's like even doing that, like doing spiritual daily practices like manifesting techniques. That's breaking your routine. You know, those little things that set you up for success. And then this was overall like what this This is like what your energy is over, like portraying over here, and this is exactly what same thing again. This is what I drew. This is a person who's steadfast in his head, overly thinks things, stubborn, ruthless style of energy, and this is adjustments. Like it's temperance. You know, temperance means like taking a break, taking a look at yourself, getting into your feminine energy, and this is Sagittarius, and it's another changing card. This is like a fixed card, routines. This is like learning how to discern situations more and getting deeper into yourself. And like, you know, the water represents intuition and feelings, and she's like getting her feet wet, and get your feet wet in this stuff, because here's your goals right here. But you gotta get to that road right here, right? You gotta get to that road to get there. But you need to get into the female